In this video we are going to discuss about the topic called database. So very basic information about the database before getting into the very detailed level of information. So it will help you to understand what is a database, what does database contains, and what are the elements it can be done. So the main topics what we are going to cover in this video will be database and what does RDBMS contains, and why the name RDBMS named, what are the database tools available in the market, and the different database connections. So let's start with the database. So what is the database? Means it start with the data storage place. So again, what is a data storage? So let's get into an example. So here you can see a website called Power ETL testing, where you can have all the links, and when you click on a specific link, it will open the page with relative information. So from where these relative informations are getting, so it will be retrieved from a place where all the data are stored, that is called repository. So how it will be done is, so during the data stage, the initiation itself, so the data will be stored in the database, and the data will be retrieved from the database whenever we user request for the user click on a particular link. And what is a database? So a database is a repository where it will store the data. At the same time, it will allow to retrieve the data for further processes. How data will be stored in the database? So data will be stored in the form of tables. So here, right, so you can see each row refers a record. At the same time, each column will refer the attribute. So how data will be retrieved? So how it happens actually? So it will be done by SQL language. SQL means structured query language. It's one of the query language which will be commonly used to retrieve the data from the database. So normally if you take the data first record, so name, address and age will be stored in organized format. The data retrieval process also will be in the same organized format. What does RDBMS means? So RDBMS means is a relational database management system. So how it differs between the normal database? So and so a database, right? So because commonly when you take a database, it may contain multiple tables. So for example, in our case, we can take a table called employee and one more table called salary table. So within these two tables, right, so there should be some link between these two tables. So here we can see how we can relate two tables. It will be related by the common field or common column called employee ID. So when we have relationship between the two tables, right, so likewise other tables will have relationship with other tables. This is the reason the database is called relational database management system. So what are the types of database tools available in the market? So major tool is Oracle and SQL Server, IBM DB2. IBM DB2 is for mainframe, and Teradata, MySQL. So the top four are paid tools, and MySQL is the open source tool. And what are the connectivity, database connectivity? So connectivity means basically UI tool where it allows to connect the server. So for example, Oracle database is there, database server is running in some place. I want to connect from my machine. so I need not to install the Oracle server in my machine. So what I have to do is I have to install a database connectivity tool which has UI where you can connect your server and whatever actions you can retrieve the data, you can insert, you can update, you can delete the data. All functions can be allowable based on the permissions. The database connected tools are Toad, AQT, SQL Server, Oracle SQL. Oracle SQL Developer is the open source tool. Other three are major paid tools. That's all about this topic. So finally, a database is a place where we can store the data in the form of tables and each row refers the record. And RDBMS means Relational Database Management System. How the name will be have been defined was there will be relationship between tables within a database. So that is the main reason. Then database management is called as Relational Database Management System.